Hi, welcome back to Guessagaingaming. So, I thought because I've mentioned it quite a few times in recent videos and because it's a franchise and an IP that I'm interested in, I've been invested in it since the first Dragon Age game, I should make some comment on what I've seen of all the footage of Dragon Age The Veilguard. I've tried to watch about probably 2 hours of online footage from people who got the early release. Obviously I haven't played it because I didn't get the early release, and even if I had, I haven't got a PlayStation 5 to play it on. But these are the kind of thoughts. I tried to watch as many different people playing it as I could, and in general I didn't watch with commentary, so I could make my own observations of what I saw. So there won't be any spoilers in this really, because I didn't really hear about the story. It's just more on what I saw of the gameplay. I did hear a few little bits, so I might comment on that to some point. But anyway, so the first thing I noticed was, and I noticed this straight away, which was the way the characters are done. It reminded me of kind of Shrek or something like that. Not in the context they were green, but in the context it looked like a kind of a Disney or a movie animation. It didn't look like well, like this lady in Watch Dogs Legion. It didn't look like a real character or someone even trying to be real. It looked like it was a movie from Disney or something, and that would be okay in some games. I'm not saying I'd be against that in any game, but it doesn't fit with Dragon Age at all. Obviously the last Dragon Age game was Inquisition, and the way the characters look don't fit with that aesthetic at all. So that's the first thing, and that I noticed like in the first 5 minutes of looking at the footage. It was like, what? And I had to keep watching. I thought maybe I'm just looking at one of the cutscenes and they're going to get different later or something, but no. All the gameplay and all the cutscenes, the characters look like they're from Disney or in Shrek or something like that. So yeah, that's the first thing that I noticed, which isn't really a good thing. I listened to some of the dialogue, and I didn't like that much either. The main character is called Rook, which is a strange name. That doesn't really fit with Dragon Age either, to be honest, because Rook sounds like it might be, sounds like something from a Victorian London situation, or it could maybe be some strange unknown superhero, but Rook doesn't sound like a Dragon Age game name. I get that they're maybe giving you, they're giving you the chance to play your own character, but then that was the same in Inquisition, and you could make up your own character's name. So I don't know why they called this character Rook, where they should just give you the option to make your own name. But anyway, I don't know. I don't like that name, Rook. As for how the character sounds when they speak, I didn't like at all how the Rook character talked to the other people in the group, and I had to have the volume on for some of this because I needed to hear it to see what it was like. So obviously some bits I had volume on, and I didn't like it was almost like a Sunday school teacher talking to kids, the way it was delivered, just the voice tone as well, and the way, just the whole tone of the whole scenes where he was talking to the other people in the group, or one or all of them. It just sounded like he was talking to kids in a Sunday school meeting, and it was very strange. It didn't have any bite. I remember Dragon Age Inquisition really well. Obviously I've been playing it and I've done a few videos on the channel about it, and when you had some of the really bitey dialogue with Cassandra and Liliana and Morrigan, these others, but when you had some of the really bitey dialogue and they were upset or they had to make a point, they were quite aggressive and they were quite annoyed sometimes, and they sounded like that. And so did kind of the character that you made yourself. They sounded a bit like that, but in this everyone sounded monotone. They all just sounded kind of happy and kind of nice. which comes on to the next thing, which is it just didn't have the right theme. The Dragon Age Inquisition, which is a game I started Dragon Age on, although I've played all of them now. Dragon Age Inquisition was very dark. It had light moments, but it was basically there was lots of dark parts to it. Lots of the characters were very nuanced. They had very many layers. Cassandra, Morrigan, Liliana, they all had many layers to them. They could have something about them that was very good, or very complicated, or a bit dark actually. And they all had numerous different motivations. They weren't just driven by one thing. They weren't driven just by being with us or by completing the goal or the mission. And this didn't seem to have any of that. It seemed very light. It almost reminded me of a kid's game. That's how it kind of came over. That's probably with the Disney aesthetic of the way the characters looked. But it almost reminded me of a Disney kids game, because it didn't have that dark feeling to it, where everyone had the possibility to walk out on you or maybe betray you or something like that. It didn't have that at all. And like I said, I only watched a couple of hours of various different videos online, but that's the vibe I got. I saw some silly pets. I don't know what they were. One looked like a half zombie thing, and there was a bird or something, and that didn't kind of fit. Again, it looked like Disney. From what I saw, there didn't seem to be much conflict in the team. So that isn't good, because again, you need that. Again, with the people I mentioned from Inquisition, which is the game I remember the most. It's the game I played the most out of the Dragon Age games. There was often conflict between them and each other, and sometimes inside themselves. So that didn't really feel right either. And it all seemed like everyone was very nice in general, and happy, and almost a bit silly. So that, again, it just didn't have the right vibe. It almost seemed, from the things I saw about how it looked, I would describe the aesthetic of how the characters looked and the way they behaved, it was almost like a very vanilla-y game. It had, like, everyone was nice, the characters looked kind of Disney orientated nice, even the ones that might be a bit dark had that Disney kind of Wicked Witch kind of feeling to them. But they're not that bad, but they're kind of just a Wicked Witch, but they're not that bad. So it had a weird vibe of like being very vanilla-y. It occurred to me that it's a game that, I know it's been in development for a long time and it's been 10 years since Inquisition. Maybe they, because of the way modern audiences are meant to be and the way they change everything, I'm not talking about any woke things now, maybe they were just worried that if they put any dark sides to the characters or anything that was confrontational, the modern audience wouldn't be able to handle it. I'm sure they can, because modern people are not as scared of confrontation, but maybe that's what they thought. I don't know, it just seemed very lame, very watered down, and if I didn't know what it was, I would have thought it was a new franchise. In fact, if I'd seen it, because none of the characters really look much like Varric, I think looks a bit more like Varric than Morrigan looks like the Morrigan, but they don't look the same. I wouldn't have known what the game was. If I didn't know what the game was, I'd think it was some new kid-orientated Disney game from some unknown cartoon that I'd never watched. Well, I wouldn't be interested in it at all. So yeah, it had a very disappointing feel to it. I can't comment on the gameplay really, because having not played it, it's harder to comment. You can comment on aesthetics and how people sound, but it's much harder to comment on the gameplay if you've not played it just by watching. So I can't comment on that. I saw what I saw. From from what I saw, it looked a lot like Inquisition, which isn't a bad thing because I liked Inquisition, so I can't say the gameplay looked bad to me. Like I said, it may be different if you actually play it, but it looked on that kind of level. You have a group with you, and you have abilities, but I can't say it looked really grippingly exciting either. It looked again like Inquisition, but Inquisition is from 10 years ago. So although the combat, from what I saw, didn't look off-putting, it didn't look dynamic and exciting either. So that's not necessarily a good thing. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. And I think overall, if I have to summarise the game, it looked like a really Disney-fied, watered down version of Dragon Age. If someone kind of got the basic rights to a story, which they often do nowadays actually, and just decided to water it down for the modern audience, or for kids, or to get it past a certain level of classification. But this isn't a new franchise, so they've already got the 3 games already. So in that sense, it's very strange. It's bad enough when they get a new book or something from a long way back, and they try to water it down to make it more acceptable to modern audiences and less offensive and But this is 10 years isn't that long, and there's 3 games in this IP already, but it's felt very vanilla-y, very watered down, very nice, and Dragon Age isn't nice. That's not to say it's not a nice game, but the whole feeling of all the Dragon Age games previously is that it's not nice. The people aren't all just nice, they're not all your pals. You have a common goal with some of them some of the time, but sometimes you don't know what their goals quite are, and sometimes they don't have the same goals as each other, and it hasn't got that feeling at all. I understand also this romance in this game. I can't really comment on that. I did see a little bit with some sound up of romance, and it looked like the rest of the game. It looked vanilla-y. It looked very toned down, lacking in passion. It looked like how you would do it if you were doing it for a 14-year-old TV show. 14-year-old TV show. It didn't look a 14-year-old Disney TV show. It didn't look like the romance or the sexual content in something like Witcher or something like that. It didn't have that feeling to it. It didn't look adult, I think. A lot of the thing about this game is actually it didn't look adult. That's how I felt. It didn't look adult. It looked like it was aimed for not just a modern audience, but a very young, kiddie audience, or people that can't take seeing any kind of sexual activity, just have people like blow kisses at each other almost, and they can't take any conflict or any harsh language. So that was all a bit disappointing. I didn't expect to like it already for various reasons, because of what I'd seen just in little cuts of scenes before today. But from what I've seen today, I feel less happy than I was before, because if they just made it, not if they like it been good, but if they just altered it to make it more wokey and dropped in a few woke characters, that would have been not very good, but it would have been par for the course with the way they make games nowadays. But the whole game looked really watered down to the point that you wouldn't know it was Dragon Age, and yeah, that's just sad, because if this game flops, then there won't be any more Dragon Age games. There probably won't be any more Bioware. So it's sad, and like I said in the different video a little bit earlier on this channel, Dragon Age is one of the franchises I really invested in. I was really looking forward to this game when it was called Dreadwolf originally, years ago, and then it never came to pass, and now it's come out. But it's something I would have really wanted to play, and I just feel, yeah, like I looked at it and thought, what is that I'm looking at? Anyway, that's my thoughts. Probably won't have any more thoughts about Dragon Age The Veilguard, because like I said, I'm not going to play it. I can't play it if I wanted to, and to be honest, I wouldn't want to. So I think I'd rather keep my Dragon Age as the 3 Dragon Age games and finish on Inquisition without going into a disappointing looking game. And I think, to be honest, that's the thing that struck me the most, the way they've changed the characters to look Disney-ish and movie-ish rather than to look like they did in the other game. And I can't understand why they would do that. The Morrigan character doesn't look at all like she did in the other games. I'd assume that in a game where you've already got a character that looked like that in 3 games, you would just upgrade the graphics to make her look better, but you wouldn't change how she looked. But she looked completely different. There was a lot of characters that looked completely not the same as how they looked, and I don't know why you would do that. It's very strange. Anyway, thanks for watching Guessagaingaming, talking about Dragon Age The Veilguard, or The Veilguard, I think someone called it somewhere. Anyway, until next time, take care for now.